What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another amazing episode of Let's Taco Bout It. Joining us today, my special guest is none other than the one and only, the phenomenally uninspiring DorkyDad. DorkyDad, thank you for being here today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I put the master in masturbator. I was gonna say something about mediocre because you made me sound bad, and I'm flubbing it, man. It's Sunday. I'm flubbing it. Let's go. What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about MSF strategy.
Well, yeah. So definitely, we're definitely going to be talking about Cosmic Crucible Season 2, pretty in depth here in just a little bit. But first and foremost, just want to give everybody in chat, not just in chat, but on YouTube, because I'm a big YouTube guy now. Got like 40 followers. It's great. But yeah, no. So I want to give an opportunity to everybody to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm curious, like where did you get your start when it came to YouTube and Twitch? Because you started on YouTube, right? Not Twitch.
Yeah, I started on YouTube. I was in a very, very early game alliance called MSF Nerds, and they needed help with raid nodes, and I was very good at the raids at the time. I think this was Ultimus 5 when it was like Tech Wing. So I made guys on all that. And then I just caught the bug. I was like, let me make some videos about new release characters. And I would dive into those characters' backstory. And it was just the cringiest, most horrible videos ever. And then it started making a little bit more sense. I would stop spending, 3 days making some kind of garbage video that would go along with, Ghost character in the Marvel comics. And I just started doing like war counters and stuff like that. And eventually got sniffed out by Mobile Gamer and Reminex, and it exploded on a Ravagers video at the end of 2021. And since then, it's been off to the races.
Nice. So there's been a lot of fluctuation in terms of content creators in Marvel Strike Force throughout the years. There's still a few familiar faces, but overall, the game has gone down. At least it's assumed that it's gone down in playing and viewership, sort of across the board, with the exception of Twitch. It seems like Twitch numbers are nearly as good as they've ever been, but YouTube numbers, we were talking about this a little bit the other day, how YouTube numbers seem to be going down for you and the rest of the YouTube content creators out there. Any direct correlation that you've seen with the events that have been coming out, in that you like to pin that on, or is it more assumptive based?
There's mass burnout, and at the top end of alliances, I see people burning it all the time. And for every 2 people that quit, one person buys one of their accounts, and that account stays in play. But there's always one kind of kicking the bucket. Yeah. And it all kind of started when events turned from the event milestones being free to play completable by being a sweaty dork and doing 6-7 rotations a day, whatever the case may be, to now it being money gated or like mass core gated, which might as well just be money gated, right, for the amounts. And it started taking a big spiral with events like Thanos Giving, and I think in the last 2 months they've ratcheted up again. And we can see just from the player base numbers, when you look at any kind of leaderboard, the top 1% has shrunk from about 3,500 to about 22 to 2,500, which is obviously, that's a big drop. Like that's about a third of the player base. And whether that be just they're putting different gates on when you qualify for the leaderboard, I guess that's not something they always let us in on. So it could be a little bit of that. But for sure, the community itself seems to have shrunk, at least in the YouTube space and on leaderboards.
Yeah. Well, so as far as the game goes, like the player base shrinking from where it was in 2020 in particular, to me was extremely expected. So we had basically a shutdown of the world, and now you've got tons and tons of time. Everybody had all of this time on their hands, and they were able to play the mobile video games while they're waiting to see are their jobs going to start picking back up. And some people, you've got a mix of people. You had a huge amount of pay to play players, and then you had a huge amount of free to play players. And the free to play players in particular, and the pay to play players, once time once the value in time gets raised again, which is what happens when everybody returns to work, the time that you spend elsewhere goes down pretty significantly. And one of the first places that's going to take a cut in that time is typically going to be video games, whether it be the games that you play on a console, PC, or on a mobile platform. So that player base shrinking wasn't a huge surprise to me, and it sounds like it was a big surprise to Scopely. I remember when they put out the initial video talking about how amazing 2020 was, or and how much they made, and I don't remember where that video stemmed from. But they talked about they talked about how successful they were and everything that they put into it, and they didn't really talk about COVID at all. So to me, it sounds like that's where it came from. What do you think?
I would say that there might be some part of that, but in response to that drop that should have been expected, they've ratcheted up both screen time and purchases to keep up at the top level, or purchases just to keep up with maybe where you were keeping up before that drop off happened. Yeah. And in doing that, it's caused real burnout, and it's at least exacerbated the amount of people that are leaving and the speed at which people are still leaving.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I think the concerning part for both of us and everyone in the community is there has to be a balance, right? There has to be the free-to-play players have to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Pay-to-play players are keeping the lights on. They're the ones that are making sure that the developers are able to pay the bills and continue working and producing out the content that they produce out. But the free-to-play players, they're the backbone of the community. And if you push them out, then you don't get any more. You don't get any more whales. You don't get any more Krakens. If those free to play players aren't able to bring in their friends who accidentally get the bug and start spending, everybody sort of starts running away. So let's hope that sort of turns around. But back to you. So you've really picked up in the last year in particular. It seems like you've really blown up on both YouTube and on Twitch. And you were starting to sort of spread yourself a little bit thin. Are you still looking to get into more games as far as what you're streaming, what you're putting out with YouTube, or have you sort of pinholed back to focusing on Marvel Strike Force?
So I tried for a little bit covering WoW Classic, and not only was it boring for people to watch, it became extremely boring for me to play it, because it just old World of Warcraft. I never realized how just basic mechanically it was. So that got really boring. And then I just haven't really tried to stream the new World of Warcraft enough. The one time I did, it was good. But as far as just time management goes, like I got 2 kids, I got one on the way. Covering this game and just keeping up with the daily requirements of this game is enough. And now I actually have more free time because I'm now staying at home because my wife needs to go rack up some hours to qualify for maternity leave. But I haven't found really enough time to cover any game. But I'm still on the lookout for something, because I definitely want to spread out from just Marvel Strike Force and have another side thing, especially if I don't have my old job, which I'll be returning to in a few months, probably. So sort of about that. So we were as far as the streaming and sort of staying focused there, Envoy program. So you've been a member of the Envoy program for a little over a year. So that you sort of stepped into that initially, looking to make some positive change for the community, and sort of what the focus of the Envoy program is as far as a communication tool. At least that's in my eyes what the Envoy program is made for.
and you were okay with it for a while, and then it started getting negative a few months ago, and a lot of it seemed to be around the style of events that they were putting out. And recently, you made a video saying that you were leaving the Envoy program. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what was the final nail in the coffin for you? Because I feel like it wasn't this. I feel like it was something previous, and this just sort of was like, all right, it's time to make the announcement.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't one single event. In fact, the event I did it on, I was blowing it out of proportion almost, because it's not as bad to get it done, to get the monthly and to actually get the unlock as I initially thought, because they changed the math from what it was in the blog. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the further milestones as it goes, it's still yucky, and it still was an example of where events have gone from. So when I first started playing the game, in 2018 or 2019, when my son was born, I should really figure when he was born, events were free to play completable. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but character releases were very, very generous with shards. So like, thinking about Moondragon. Now, a lot of people hated the Moondragon release because it was one of those where you blitz, you get orb fragments, you open them, and you got some kind of amount. But she was actually guaranteed in the middle at that time, I believe. And I literally did every single rotation I could do. I got super sweaty about it, and I ended up getting free to play for her a 5-star unlock, which mm-hmm. is unheard of. Like, not even close to being possible with their new releases.
Yeah.
And that started since Echo. And at the time, it was like the last 2 milestones were like, okay, no, you have to pay for these. And then it was the last 3 milestones. And then it was the last 4 milestones. And then it was every single milestone that had T4 blue ions on it. You either had to spend thousands of shards or you had to spend money. And then on this one, it was like, to get the last 80 Peggy Carter shards, you had to drop an extra 80 million gold. Which, yeah. I mean, let's be real. That's money at that point. Especially because they just ran another gold spending event. So the events got worse and worse and worse. And I see real friends leaving the game over perceived burnout. And that stems from events. Not being able to complete events that they were for the last 3 years. And now spending tons and tons of money, getting that invoice at the end of the month. Be like, oh my God, this is how much I spent on Marvel Strike Force. So I saw that happening. And then I saw the numbers decreasing in the game, at least visually to me, based on like the Scourge leaderboards and other event leaderboards, seeing that 1% drop. And I also perceive a very real issue with how they treat new players. The lack of catching mechanics is gross. The lack of promoting the game that we see in other games, I don't think that exists. And trying to squeeze new whales and new krakens that are like, that's like a diamond in the rough kind of thing. Like they're very rare, those kinds of players, and doing that at the detriment of other, free to play mid game players. Like, why do we have ability level 3 materials still in the game? Those purple ones, like me and you, I probably 10 or 100,000 of them now. Like, that's a non-existent thing for us, and that should be a non-existent thing for anybody catching up. I equate it to like a World of Warcraft expansion. If I start playing in the current expansion, I don't have to go through all the grinding and headaches of 2 expansions previous to that. They implement mechanics that just let you leapfrog over that. Yeah. And I think that Marvel Strike Force needs to do that, and I've expressed that. I've been acknowledged, but never seen anything come of it. We're not kept in the loop there in that program. We're not kept in the loop of much. Like, we're told a couple of things, like get the blog early, stuff like that. I actually don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I won't say too much. But I didn't feel what people assume that relationship is. Like, they assume that's a partnership, like we're working together or working with them, or somehow playtest access is cheating and stuff like that. So I was just like, it wasn't worth the association anymore, as silly as that statement sounds. So it was just time. I appreciate everything Archangel, Lori, and even Cerebro to a certain extent, though I never have spoken to him, put into that program. And I do think they do a lot, and I think that they've improved it and the communication by 100-fold. Archangel and Lori, they're working their rumps off to improve the game. So nothing but love for those guys, but it just felt like it was time. And maybe in the future, if the decision makers, it was not them, so if the decision makers decide that they want to bring people in and help try and address these issues and get the game to be growing and make it feel fun again, then I'd be more than willing to hop back in there with them and help them do that, or at least be able to witness that they're doing that.
Well, the only thing that I'd like to add on to that is I don't think the community, the MSF community as a whole, is in a better place with you outside the Envoy program than it is inside. Just something to think about. I get it. You've got to worry about your own health and mental health and well-being when you're dealing with what you're dealing with from the content creator perspective, because you do get attacked a lot as a content creator, right? Like, you do get attacked on YouTube and on Twitch, and not for you in particular. Somehow Reddit loves you, so you don't get attacked there, but everywhere else, everybody else gets attacked on Reddit, though. So state of the game overall, it sounds like a lot of mixed opinions, mixed feelings. Does that pretty much sum that up?
I think gameplay wise, the game has never been better. I think progression path wise / where it's going ideologically couldn't be worse.
All right. So thank you for joining us today, DorkyDad. We're going to hop over to our panel discussion about Crucible, where I intend to challenge your "It's never been better." All right, here we go. Greatest transition ever right now. Dun, dun, dun. All right, welcome back, everybody, to our panel discussion on Let's Talk About It. We're going to be specifically talking about Cosmic Crucible here and the Season 2 changes that just went into effect. Joining us today are none other. In the top left screen, we've got BeniWestSide. In the lower left screen, oh, Jesus, and we lost Drunken Mambas, damn you.
They're really good. They've been getting even better.
In the lower left, we've got my brother. I love this little Canadian man, Skilly, just an amazing human being and an amazing cook. In the top right, we've got none other than ScottieKnowsBest ish, and DorkyDad, of course, joining us for this roundtable discussion as well. I got a little green screen issue that's killing me over here. Hold on. I don't know how I didn't see this earlier, but Dorky, you look all weird, which, weirder than normal. All right, boom. All right, here we go. Now I'm ready. Again, amazing transition. Thank you, Sable. All right, so we've got a lot of really interesting rooms that they put in, and first thing, so just gonna dive straight into it. The Vibranium room 6. I am a huge fan of Cosmic Crucible. I absolutely love Cosmic Crucible. I wasn't a huge fan of the Hero Mutant specific call out in the previous season, and I am significantly less of a fan of the "you must use Wakanda in room 6 on defense or else" that they've done here. I think this is absolutely a huge mistake, and it's gonna sour people on Crucible. Is my personal opinion on this. And so that's why I wanted to start off with it, because I didn't want to end on a negative. So, what are y'all thoughts on room 6? Starting from the free to play side, or free-ish to play side, Skilly.
Yeah. Not too much. I don't know. It should be interesting. Not entirely sure what I'm gonna see, but yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say. You put me on a tough spot to say first.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
Taco.
Put the
Benny,
experts to say it first.
that's fair. That's fair. Benny, you're an expert.
Sure.
Ah,
Um, well, I think when you said put Wakanda in room 6 or else, I think the or else isn't really that big of a deal. I think it's if you don't have your Wakanda built, it's just another room 1 or 2,
Fair.
which is totally fine. Not everybody has to have all these teams built. But since I'm the narwhal today, um, I I think it's gonna be fun trying to come up with ways to beat that team in there. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think I'm more thrilled that we're done with Age of X than upset about any specific rule in this season. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yes, a 6-month season was not exactly my idea of a good time. Dorky, what about you?
well, I would push back on what Benny said about like if you don't have Wakanda built, then it's just 1 or 2. That's true, but also you're at a severe disadvantage as far as like managing your roster and the amount of brick wall you're putting up on the enemy. The efficiency alone will be an issue because this Wakanda team will be the fastest team in the game with 0 exceptions.
Yeah.
If you have like 1 million, or even if you have Nakia in there at 128 or 127 speed with the speed up, with the 20% they're going to get from the room bonus as well, they're going to go so fast. They're at the very least going to drain your efficiency. And that's going to be true until Masters of Evil come in and Kang does a bunch of speed stuff that overrides it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how often is it that somebody with a 250k Wakanda or like unbuilt Wakanda is in the same 8 sum as somebody with a 1.1 million Wakanda? I think it's like it depends on your bracket, and I think where you're playing, or even at the tier I'm playing, people have Archangel, so people have their Wakandans built to a certain degree, and it goes back to them making us build Wakanda to get Archangel, and now we get to use this team beside just the legendary unlock.
Right, so that's true, except like what do players have to build? You got your horseman teams to build, you have your scourge teams to build, which would include Wakanda. But say you didn't do the scourge team. Say you had your horseman teams to build, you had your arena team to build. What are you building after that? What teams make sense to build? A team that flexes both War and Crucible, War Dogs, Wakandans. They're a number 3 team in both of those modes. So to say like a player that doesn't have this built, but it should be on their priority list if they're trying to participate in these modes. And the second somebody makes that decision, whereas another person decides like, no, I want to build up my Pim Tech or whatever else because I like that team better.
Ouch.
Then competitively, they're at a gigantic disadvantage when it comes to these 2 modes, and this mode in particular now with this rule.
And what about you, Scotty?
I think it's going to be a hot mess, honestly. Until we get full Masters of Evil, I think it's going to be me in Dorky's DMs every Cosmic Crucible complaining.
I think so. The biggest problem that I've got with Room 6 is the defense, the specific defense tag on it, because Wakanda, in my opinion, is one of the most fun teams to play with in the game. And not being able to play with them, that being taken away from me. I mean, like, yeah, I can not put them on defense and I can use them offensively, but it's gonna hurt me if I do that. And that's not fair, because we build these teams and we want to play with these teams, and so not having that option anymore, I find very disheartening. Skilly, anything you want to add?
Oh, I think you guys hit it pretty good there. I mean, it's going to be like the annoying team for me that I was always fighting with the Jubilee and all those guys, the Astonishing X-Men. I just skipped it. screw it. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean, until we get Masters of Evil, and of course that won't work for the free to play players out there because it's going to be even longer for them to get the full Masters of Evil team. I think the Masters of Evil is the clear counter to this Room 6 team, Room 6 Wakanda team, and as far as that goes, I'm not certain, like with the speed and their ability to not just speed up, but to manipulate speed, to get rid of debuffs. I just don't see what can counter this. It looks like it's going to be just a shit show in Room 6, where you prey on really, really good RNG. All right, so enough with the negative. So the rooms for the global rooms this time around for season 2 are on offense, reduce speed and resistance by 10% for all non-Masters of Evil villain mystics. I wish they put a little comma after Masters of Evil.
Yeah, me too.
But on defense, reduce speed and resistance by 20% for all Cosmic Villain Mystics. On any Cosmic Villain Mystic turn, apply bleed to that character. And then same on defense, all characters gain 20% health, 10% damage. So I'm okay with it. I think this will be far more enjoyable than the mutant that we had to deal with for 4 or 5 months, however long that was. And obviously, this is a trying to enhance Masters of Evil once they do get released. YouTube, cut it out. I'm filming a show here. For the love of God. So I think this is a win in and of itself, just not having to deal with the hero mutant mess that we had for so long. Though that was fun for a while. It
spiraled.
It wasn't. It was fun until it wasn't. So going into the rooms, the specific rooms 3, 4, and 5. Let's start with 3. So 3 is probably the one that I'm most excited about. On defense, any fortifier uses ultimate ability, spreads all positive effects to adjacent. On any striker's turn, barrier that character for 5% of that character's max barrier, and flip offense down. I'm super, super excited about this, particularly because it allows us to do a lot of theory crafting, right? I think there is no end to the amount of teams that we're going to see put in 3 in particular. I think a lot of people are looking at Gamma and saying, Gamma will be a good time here. Then you've got people talking about utilizing, the sort of Hydra speed up mechanic with Zemo Red Skull, and then some various other mishmashes in there. What do you guys? What do y'all think about 3? Scotty, you want to start us out here?
I was toying with the idea of like an Underworld Red Skull Zemo combo, a little bit, just because I think that'll spread a lot of annoying things around. I think Gamma is another, good one, especially switching some ISOs. Those are the 2 that I was thinking most about.
Dorky, what about you?
So I think at the first glance, we're thinking about characters that are going to do something interesting on the first turn. You got your Zemo, who can spread defense up and immunity, and he's going to do a random ability block, a bunch of slows. You got your Fury, who will spread offense up and speed. Yeah. But by the second or third week, I think we're going to see even more intricate ideas, and it's going to be either characters that are cascading buffs or characters that on their second turn use their ultimates and they're covered in buffs. Yeah. Like if you have a Captain America and Peggy Carter covers him in buffs, and then he does his ultimate. I guess that would probably be his third turn or something like that. And that's just an example. Don't put Rebirth on defense; they're trash; they'll get destroyed. But it'll be something like that involving some of the best teams in the game. The Death Seeds, the Infinity Watch, the Gamma team, maybe even Darkhold. It'll be something like that. But what I would advise is to be careful of putting something that can get easily countered in a mirror matchup or just by Zemo. So if you throw Fury in there and you don't put a crazy 4-piece around him that's going to carry, even if he doesn't carry his buffs over, spread his buffs rather. Zemo can go in, strip the speed up, ability block him, and then that idea is done. The same idea, if you just put Zemo in there, somebody can mirror it with Zemo cable. Their Zemo goes first, ability blocks your Zemo, and nothing happens. So I would advise to making sure that you're secure from just a simple mirror or a simple controlling effect from a faster character than the one you're hoping is going to spread buffs.
Well, so that's sort of how everything works anyway, right? I mean, so as far as the speed manipulation of every game mode, so you're always looking at teams and saying, how can I go faster? Like the not always, but the majority of the time, you're like, what can I do to outspeed this to get turn one? Because if you get that turn one, that's when you have the opportunity to really sort of lay the smackdown, right? Benny, what you think?
I'm with Dorky on this one. Everybody's been looking at like what happens on turn one, who ults on turn one, who has speed up. For me, I think it's gonna come down to who can replenish a buff, like who goes later, or something where you like set up Heartless, where somebody like a Colossus or something with 8 buffs ults and gives Heartless all those buffs right before Heartless ults, so he has those like damage multipliers, something like that, where you can combo or give somebody offense up right before their ult or AoE or something. So I haven't found something that I'm super excited for on that team or on that room yet. So for this first week at least, I'm not changing anybody to fortifiers. I just put Gamma in there as their previous ISOs. I think I need to see the room play a little bit more before I make decisions on that one.
Yeah. Well, so ISO is expensive, and somebody in chat mentioned it's just a way to get us to spend our ISO. And that's a fair point, but I think the best idea that I can give the majority of folks is to take the first couple weeks, and if you lose, you lose. Make sure you're able to full clear rooms as best you can so that you get the points. And if you drop down, if you lose 1 or 2 weeks to get into the right position, then so be it. Skilly, what are your thoughts on this first room?
Yeah, no, I thought a lot of people would put Gamma there, and I wanted to kind of use them as offense to counter it.
Yeah.
My first thought, actually, and I don't know, could be wrong, but I just wanted to play test and see what happens first week, was Bionic Avengers, just to see what they do in there. I don't know, just curious with them. And Fortifier, I have some of them already with Striker Fortifier, so it could make it interesting, and they flip the negatives from Zemo anyways.
Yeah. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I like so one of the things that I'm looking at first week that I've got right here, it's using that rebirth, which, as Dorky said, is trash, but utilizing that the Zemo passive in that. So Zemo's passive, just like it gives that extra speed to Red Skull, it'll also give that same speed to Winter Soldier. And so maybe it's something that works, maybe it doesn't. Now, obviously, with Red Skull, he then proceeds to immediately give speed back to Zemo again and the entire team, which is why that is as effective as it is. But as y'all were saying, Zemo's got to get a turn to make any of that work, right? So moving along to the next room, we've got Resurrection Protocols. On spawn, hero mutants gain revive once and immunity. Dorky, you want to lead this one off?
Sure. I think this one screams, if you want to be efficient, you need to put unlimited here. I see you don't, and I understand you because you're trying to get the full clear. Unless you have unlimited here, there are so many counters. So like an Astonishing Dad Bros team, not to pick on what you're doing, but an Astonishing Dad Bros team, Young Avengers will probably kill that very quickly. Like just think Chavez is going to instantly kill somebody, then they come back, you instantly kill them again. Same with Eternals. Eternals will take their first lives on their first turn, plus turn meter rewinding them, and then maybe I'll bring my own Dad Bros, and then I'll pop off like that. Except Unlimited. Now, because Unlimited spawns with Safeguard and Defense Up and Dodge and Immunity and Evade, it's an absolute nightmare. And so even in the mirror matchup, even if you get a speed advantage by bringing Cable, you are no longer able to control the rogue outside of a turn meter rewind and putting taunt on yourself. So the enemy rogue will still eventually do her thing, and their stats are crazy. They get huge barrier. They're tanky. They have drain. At the very worst, if I put my unlimited on defense and you don't, I have no excuse to get worse efficiency than you do doing that mirror matchup.
Well, so looking at the unlimited, if you've got unlimited in this room, I find in a very similar boat as room 6. With those revives and not exactly knowing how this is going to work, because the way I'm reading it is basically you kill everybody one time and then you time out, because that's what's going to happen. And then you go back into that room and they've got revive again.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you get through. Even if you do unlimited versus unlimited mirror match, I think it times out. I don't think it finishes. And will it time out with you killing enough of the opponent? Probably not. It's going to be a poop show. With unlimited.
Do you want to know the cheat code? Do you want to know the cheat code?
Let's hear it.
Zombie Iron Man. Characters killed by Zombie Iron Man's passive do not revive.
So you think Zombie Iron Man will survive? I mean, so you think Hela will survive long enough for Zombie Iron Man to do something?
You still got to burn this team. You're going to have to burn Unlimited, and then you're going to go in with an Undying comp. That's what I was using to beat Unlimited in Stage 4 last season. Mm-hmm. So now there's no Age of X. Now there's not infinite offense up on Gambit. Mm-hmm. So Zombie Iron Man's passive, getting the enemy to kill each other, will keep them permanently dead. And that'll be how you do like I don't want to say safe 2-tap, because there is always the chance, like you say, Hela just gets randomly popped off, whether it be from a Sunfire basic followed by a striker attack killing through the Death Cruise or something like that.
Yeah.
But besides the mirror matchup, that's the only thing I can see that will comfortably kill it, besides doing a burn attack, doing a second attack, but not killing anybody, getting them down to very, very little life, and then doing a third attack where the enemies start low, you kill them once, and then you kill them again after that. And even that, oof.
So I from my perspective and seeing what other people are going to be doing with these teams, that's why I'm keeping all of my horsemen on, because if Gamma's alone on defense, I'm reasonably confident that there's a number of Gamma takedown counters, right?
But there is less.
Darkhold, same story. I look at this and I say, I can just go in there with my entire horseman team and wreck this.
So that's all true, but now if I'm looking at to win efficiently, the Darkhold matchup takes a lot of turns. It gets yucky. The Gamma matchup, not as yucky as Darkhold, but can still take some turns.
Yeah.
The limited matchup for sure, and the Death Seed, admittedly, they're going to be better this season for sure, because they're mostly villains, right? They're not hampered in that sense. I just think efficiently wise, if I have all my horseman teams on defense, you have all your horseman teams on offense, whatever you've put up in place of them is more easily beaten by a team like Infinity Watch, by a team like Eternals, by a team.
Well, I mean, Death Seed's still going to get countered by Infinity Watch. Like, there's not going to be any change to that on any of these rooms, with the exception of three. Like three's one where Death Seed, and we didn't even talk about that. But the three's somewhere where Death Seed could really be something.
Yeah, they do their alts at very interesting times.
Yeah. All right. So Skilly, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same. I put on Unlimited X-Men right away there. Just no brainer. But to counter, again, who knows? I like that idea with Iron Zombie. I might be using that. I didn't think of that before.
Scotty, what about you?
Now I have to build them.
I mean, Unlimited's in my room, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, it just screams Unlimited, and it's just going to be
it does.
Interesting to counter it, for sure. But, like, I was thinking a little bit, like, I know Death Seed won't go in and get like the revise. Well, Psylocke will, but like I wonder after a burn if like we were using an Age of X, they might still be able to do something because I think one of them can kill and then they can't revive. I feel like one of them of the five. Um, but I just wonder if maybe they could potentially be used. But I think Zim is probably going to be a better option as well.
Yeah, Benny.
I have X-Men there. They're gonna get beaten, but
Yeah.
I want unlimited on offense because I think for now they're gonna be the closest to reliable counter to Wakanda in 6.
Yeah.
So I Gamma's my only horseman on defense, and I want my sharpest tools because it's a new season. Even
Yeah.
if I lose a few trials or a whole week, if I'm the last person in my 8, that's fine. I want to try things out and see how I can beat them. Um, I want to try unlimited into Wakanda. I want to see if I can stack unlimited in 4 and then beat with Darkhold or something. Because I think we're still reeling back from Age of X stats. They're not
Yeah.
going to have those stats. Yes, they're going to have immunity and revive on spawn, but they'll be Gambit's passive's going to do less damage. They're going to have less resistance once you get through those immunity turns.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be sackable. I don't think any one team is going to beat them or one-shot them until Masters of Evil. But we'll see.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's sort of my strategy with this because there's not a practice mode. I'm looking at it as with the same eyes. I want the sharpest tools at my disposal for offense, and I'll see what happens. The week 1 and adjust accordingly. I try to sort of do that min-maxing when it comes to Crucible. I want to put the minimum amount of effective defense on there and then play the efficiency game. And it's worked for me more than it's not, more than it hasn't. So moving over. Yeah.
1 second. Since we talked about Undying, and I don't know if it's going to come up again, I want to bring this up. You know how in War, Zombie Iron Man has a speed bump, so he ability blocks before Hela spreads? Because Hela has a speed nerf in this season of Cosmic Crucible, you can use that combo.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So just a little
That's awesome.
reminder.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So moving into room 5, Spider-Verse. When any Spider-Verse character has stealth, that character gains 20% damage. Reduce resistance by 20%. For any character with bleed, this room may be updated in the future. I am so confused by this room. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is they wanted to make people build Noir. That's the first thing that comes to mind because he's a good character, but he was very skippable as far as Tangled goes, and quite frankly, probably the first really skippable character in a long time, which was pretty surprising. Now that being said, he is better than people think he is, but he's not game changing. And I don't know that this makes him game changing. Benny, you want to lead this one off?
Sure. I built Noir to I think 14 or 15 because his model and animations were so cool. And then I keep trying to use him, but he's raw damage and he doesn't do that much. In War, when I'm trying to go into Darkhold, he's actually a detriment and he's a loose condition, so I had to take him out because he gives speed to Morgan.
Yeah, because he's going to go first with those buffs. Yeah, his passive speed up.
My best use for him has been X Factor, and I think that's where he's going to stay. I don't know if this room bonus makes him that big, makes him that important, unless you've built him to 16, 85 or something, where he's really going to put in a lot of damage right off the bat. I don't know. I think they said they want to change. They might change the room. That's probably going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get shredded by a noir, and then I'll come to my senses. But let's see.
I don't think you will. I think that's the other part. Like, this room may be updated in the future. Why even put that there? Like, if you think from a developer, this is probably not a good idea, it's probably not a good idea.
Do you want the cynical idea that I had about it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get it out of the way.
Okay, so Room 6 looks super tough. Room 4 with Unlimited looks super tough. Masters of Evil comes in and fix at least one of those issues, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, once Masters of Evil is done, then they update that room to make it harder. So instead of having 3 absolute nightmare rooms, we only have 2 for now. When Masters of Evil comes out, they just update this one to be harder again. So we still remain with 2 badass rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, so you think basically what you're saying is once Masters of Evil comes out, this will be a room that specifically is designed to where Masters of Evil will not work.
I'm thinking that 220 is so low that it will not affect anything. And that honestly, because there's only 3 stealthing Spider-Verse characters and 2 of them do very little damage, they might just add a 0 on the end of that when Masters of Evil comes out.
Scotty, what do you think?
I mean, I saw this room as kind of like a no room. Like, I don't know if it's worth putting, like, him in there for his damage. Like, I don't want to build him just to see right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't decided, but I feel like I'll probably put some tangled web nastiness in there.
Skill?
Yeah, for me, I just moved over what I had for the last Spider-Verse last season into that room. And it was Emma and Dormammu with them. I'll probably have to take Dormammu off because of the cosmic villain stuff. But who knows, maybe I just might leave him there for the first round just to see what shenanigans he creates. But
yeah,
I mean, Emma will pop off.
So actually, him being slowed down is not a necessarily a bad thing. Slowing down when the stun comes, and because he on spawn he spawns with offense up, defense up, and immunity, right? So it's not like he's not going to get the bleeds that go to that team. He'll be fine. So I think you'll be fine there. The Dorky, what are your thoughts as far as what are you wanting to put in that room?
So I did put Tangled Web in that room, and I grouped it with Captain America and Captain Sam, but I might put Hulk in there instead. I just don't think, like, in the last season, they relied heavily on Age of X to not only carry the damage for them, but to erase revives and to do some interesting mechanics there. Like, a lot of people leaned on the Astonishing X-Men team, which is a well-established team that had a turn 1 stun, a bunch of damage because of Age of X, some healing, and some more buffs. Yeah. And they relied on that to carry the Tangled Web. That doesn't exist this season. So in that room, all I looked at it was, okay, if someone decides to mirror match up this, it's done. It's going to be a very quick fight. It's over. But if they also have theirs on defense, then at least I can make this room eat up efficiency by throwing some tanks in there with it, making it take a little bit longer for Infinity Watch, maybe making it take a little bit longer for Death Seed. But I don't think Tangled Web is going to be what is ruining people's Crucible experiences.
Yeah. All right. Well, so overall impressions of this season's Cosmic Crucible sounds from all of you to be overall positive. I feel like when they first announced the new season of Crucible, I think most people, myself included, looked at the rooms and went, "Wow, they're really telling us what we have to use, what we have to build again." And as we've sort of sat through it, it's like, it's fine. I mean, 6 is gonna suck. 6 is just gonna not be playable. But who knows? Maybe somebody like Benny, somebody like Dorky, maybe somebody like Scotty, one of you out in chat right now are able to find the counter that works. using some form of trauma, because that's the only way anything will stick on these guys. And even if they do get trauma, remember they speed up and remove it as quickly as possible. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, so thumbs up or thumbs down from everybody. Are you excited about Crucible or not excited?
No Age of X, let's go!
All right. Well, so that is it. Another episode of Let's Talk About It in the books. Again, big special thank you to all of our panelists today. Skilly, love you. Scotty, love you too. BeniWestSide, you're the best. Dorky sort of sucks, but I appreciate him being here nonetheless. All right. Peace and love, everybody. Bye. Oh, be sure to like and subscribe, bitches.
Oh, if Taco hits 3,500, I'm going to drive down to him. We're going to do a hot tub stream.
Wait, what?
Nice.
Let's go.
Nice.
All right, now I got to remember to hit stop recording and not end stream.